Good morning, good morning, good morning, wise. Happy Self-Care Saturday. Y'all already know. Y'all already know. If I'm here on a Saturday, it's a reason. It is a reason. In any event, I'm here today. Happy Self-Care Saturday, wise. I greet you in the name of the mighty high God. Come on, Jesus. Good morning. Listen, we are going to just jump right into this topic. Coach T has a full schedule, which is why I normally do not like doing my lives on the day that I have sessions, post office runs. Good morning. It is really, really, really hard when I gotta go pick up my ring. I have a wedding to attend. I gotta go pick up gifts. It's a busy Saturday, okay? It's a busy Saturday. Now, y'all know I always have a backstory. Of why I got to this place or how I got to this place. Because y'all know I had just told y'all on last week that I have been trying to, do my lives on Fridays, start my self-care, and was able to do that. But I need y'all to pray for Coach T more frequently in the areas of God positioning me to just be a travel wife coach, okay? I want to be a travel wife coach. I already have some things in place where I can just, travel across the world, speaking to, wise lives, be guest speakers, come on panels, cohabitate with some other people to do, God's work, because I'm coming to a conclusion that 20 years in the medical field, I think I am due my time of ending. Short people like myself are not supposed to be ripping and running and, using their legs like that. And that's what had happened yesterday. Okay. That's what had happened yesterday. Yesterday, I was tricked. Okay. Yesterday, I was bamboozled. Yesterday, I felt like somebody had them put out a word to somebody. Okay. Because the way I was feeling, it wasn't normal. All right. That was not normal activity. My upper, thighs was hurting. My feet, they had not hurt like that in a very, very long time. It wasn't good. So I have concluded that this is my time. This has to be my time. Where God is like, transitioning me, because he knows that, God, you call me to work like this, it's like I'm going backwards, because like I did those things like back in the day. I'm getting older now, so I don't want to have to work like that. So I just feel like, God is definitely up to something. Okay. He's definitely up to something. And, Coach, he didn't have no energy to pour into you on yesterday. And so I said, let me just reserve myself. Let me get me some rest. Let me just go ahead and kick off my shoes, relax my feet, take a shower, planted myself, in my beds and laid my head on my pillow. And I had no problem at all closing my eyes, because it was just that serious on yesterday. So I'm here today. Welcome, wise. Welcome. My name is Coach T. For some of you who may not know me, I am a mental health wife coach and marriage consultant. I coach wives who are going through a marital hardship in their marriages. All right. Most of the wives I coach have biblical reasons to exit out of their marriage covenant, but for some reason, divinely a divine instruction, a word, these wives have been given specific instructions to stay in that marriage and to trust God with a marriage. So I basically help wives to confront their grief. I help them to confront their grief and then help them to transform into a healthier version of themselves as they are trusting God, believing God for what he's going to do in a marriage, but they're able to keep moving forward in life. All right. They're able to keep moving forward in life. A lot of these husbands are husbands who are involved, adulterous relationships, addiction, abandonment has taken place, mental and emotional distress, is, actively, in that marriage. And these wives trying to figure out what had happened to my husband. Like what had happened to him, because he is no longer the same man. He is no longer the man that I married. And so that's who I help. So welcome. Now listen, like I said, this is a busy day for Coach T. I have a lot on the board today, so I don't want to hold you long, but I did want to come on. We are still in our becoming series. If y'all got the book and y'all following along. And so y'all was going to let me walk right out of June and not address his mental health. Come on, Jesus. I was like, wait a minute. This is the last week. We got to discuss his mental health. And so, of course, I wanted to find, something in the book that we had been, sharing and speaking about, and talking about that in a sense. And then I'm going to give you some, information about that as well. I'm hoping to encourage, wives who are, dealing with this type of hardship. And so in the book, Becoming, chapter 12, it talks about mental strength. And I just want to kind of just start off with this, and then we're going to get into the other part. And it basically comes from out of Proverbs 31:7, which says 31:17, the amplified verse. And it says, she equips herself with strength, spiritually, mentally, and physically fitness for her God-given task and makes her arms strong. Come on, Jesus. Now that was right on time. She equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task and makes her arms strong. All right. I always tell my wives, everybody is not called to this type of journey. I get so much backlash from different ones who, they want to argue the Bible. Oh, well, the Bible say that God hates divorce, and the Bible say that God hates divorce, but God does not restore all marriages, right? God does not restore all marriages. And so many people try to come for me when I say things like, God has not called every wife to stay or stand in an unhealthy marriage. God has not called every wife to pursue a marriage where adultery has taken place, where addiction is happening, where abandonment is current. God has not called every wife to that. So stop that. Stop coming for me when I know that God does not do that. God does not restore all marriages. Some people he does release. All right. Some people he does say, all right, move on. But then there are some. It doesn't make us better. It doesn't make us, above. It's just a call that he gives to some, right? That he gives to some. And so today we're going to talk about his mental health. We always talk about the wife's mental health, but today we're going to talk about his mental health, her husband. But first I want to share this. God is dealing with his sons in this hour. Okay, he is dealing with his sons in this hour. All right. And I always try to just, share what I'm picking up in the spirit or what I feel like God is, is saying about marriages. This is something that I try to just sit with God with to see, exactly what I'm getting from him when it comes down to this. And so he is dealing with his sons in this area. OK, and the gates of hell should not prevail in your marriage, wife. All right. The gates of hell should not prevail in your marriage. I know right now it's hot. I know it's right. It's on fire. Okay. But the gates of hell will not prevail in your marriage because God is faithful. Okay. God is faithful. There is a day there is a day when God will bring he will bring the foolishness that's taking place to an end. All right. He will bring an end to your husband's madness. He will bring an end to that. I know a lot of times right now, it may not necessarily look like that based off of what you are experiencing, based off of what you are seeing. You go back to what Paul says, like, don't pay attention to that stuff. Like, what you see now is temporarily, okay? But you got to focus on what's eternal. And right now, it may not necessarily look like this stuff is coming to an end. But there is a timing where God will bring your husband madness to an end, and he will align him. He will align him with his ultimate position of priest, prophet, and king. Okay? He will ultimately position him as priest, prophet, and king. I am a strong believer who have been married for 19 and a half years, and God has called me to this. I do not believe God has called women, wives, to do or endure this type of journey, and he does not have a plan. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that you're just carelessly just out here, just roaming, around, just waiting for something to happen. Like, I don't believe that. I believe God has a plan. I believe God is strategic. I believe God knows exactly what he's doing. I believe God knows the day and time when he is going to bring his plan to pass. There is a Karios time for your husband to wife, okay? Where he will be what the Bible verse says in Ephesians 5:25-27, okay? He will be that representative of Jesus to his bride. He will be that representative of Jesus to his bride. Ephesians 5:25-27 says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. God's word is what it is. His word has not changed. His word has not changed. And wives, I just do not believe a woman who has walked this journey, a woman who has been in the fire, a woman who understands this. I do not believe that God has you going through these flames for nothing. It's not for nothing, okay? God desires for husbands to be a representative of Jesus for their wives. And it shall be so. And it shall be so. All right. And so I want you to just kind of hold on to that. Hold on to that. God is faithful, wives. Okay. God is faithful. He is dealing with his sons in this hour. All right. He is definitely dealing with his sons in this hour. I know it may look like a certain way, but he is. All right. And so I wanted to just share that part first. Now, let's jump into, the message I want to share with you guys, which is June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay. It's a time to bring awareness to the issues that affect men's mental wellness and the importance of seeking help. However, the key to this is these men have to be willing to seek the help they need. Wife, you are not to force it. They have to want to do it for themselves. Okay? They have to want to do it for themselves. A lot of wives get themselves in trouble when married to this type of husband, because they believe that they can fix him, change him, make him better or worse. They give him an ultimatum. They basically say, you got to get yourself together. You got to get fixed. You got to do this, and that, or else this ain't going to be. And you know what that husband's going to say? Well, then this ain't going to be then. That's what he going to say. He going to say, well, this ain't going to be then. Because what you're not going to do is give me an ultimatum. What you're not going to do is come for me. All right. A lot of times these husbands are involved in adulterous affairs that stems from the diseases of their substance abuse. Okay. A lot of times these adulterous affairs come about because of these husbands' involvement with substance abuse. The drugs and alcohol has become the numbing source, and adding an adulterous woman to it is like a cherry on top for them. Okay, it's like a cherry on top for them. I highlight, substance abuse, alcohol, drug addictions, just because that is an area, like I said, that I coach wives in. And it's also an area that I myself have experienced that. Okay. One of the hardest things for a wife to accept and to know is that her husband is not only in an adulterous relationship, but he actually loves and cares for that person. Babe, you don't know pain. You don't know hurt. You haven't experienced pain or hurt when you are very, very aware that he's not just involved with this person, but he's actually connected to this person. He actually, that soul tie between him and that person is strong. He is actually caring for this person. He is actually in love with this person. Like, he really has strong feelings for this person. There ain't no kind of pain that a wife want to deal with. Okay. That is one of the hardest things, not only to know, but to know and really be in a position where it's like, God, are you sure I'm supposed to be doing this? Because this ain't right. Like, this ain't normal. And I always try to explain to wives, your husband is in a delusional state of mind during that time. Okay. He is delusional. All right. A lot of times these husbands are under different type of, love spells, curses, different type of things are taking place. The enemy has set up strategic adulterous women on their path to destroy this man. All right. The goal of the enemy ultimately is to destroy this man. Okay. He has him already with the drugs. He has him already with the alcohol. He has him already in his mind. And now he has given him this woman who he just head over heels about. And his goal is to take this man's soul. All right. His goal is to take this man's soul. Knowing that your husband, is giving what is due to another person, it can be mind blowing for a wife. And a lot of these wives are getting hit because they're thinking, oh, he's just with this woman. He's dealing with this woman, this and that. But they don't even know your husband may have other secrets. Because a lot of times I talk to wives, I ask them, is any drug abuse, present? Is he a drinker? Oh, well, he drinks a little bit, but I don't think he's on the drugs. And I was to myself, a lot of times these men have other secrets. It is not just another woman. Okay. They may have another woman, but that other woman could be connected to some type of substance abuse. All right. It's mind blowing to a wife who is in a position like this and who has to not accept like, oh, I'm going to just sit here and just deal with this. And it's like, okay, this is what it is. No. Who is in a position where she's been called to be a representative of Christ. Okay. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as we go down. You, wife, have been divinely advised. You have been divinely advised by God to stay and trust him, not your husband, to trust God. God is asking you, I know what you see right here presently. I know what this look like. I know the pain that you are feeling while dealing with something like this. I understand. But I'm gonna need you to trust me. Trust you? I'm gonna need you to trust me. But God, he's definitely not, I'm gonna need you to trust me. But God, you say, I'm gonna need you to trust me. At what point do you say, God, enough is enough? Enough is enough because I can't take this anymore. Enough is enough because I can't continue on like this. Enough is enough because this is making me sick. Enough is enough because now I'm all out of pocket in my own self. When is enough enough? Right? Long suffering is inevitable. It's going to happen. On this journey, you are going to encounter long suffering. Like, that is one of the fruits that will be produced in you during this journey. Okay? Long suffering is going to be there. Okay? It's part of the journey. Emphasize to the ones called to it. Emphasizing to the ones called to it. Long suffering, dealing with this type of husband, this type of male, long suffering is part of the journey. Because unless you are called to this, I absolutely would not recommend it. Unless you know God has called you to this, this is not something that you want to just say, oh, I'm going to sign my name up for this. I'm going to sign my name up for this. No. God is the only one who can get you through that type of hardship. He is the only one. He is the only one who can get you through that. Okay? God is a reminder. He's a reminder that his grace is sufficient enough. Not only is his grace sufficient enough, but his timing is perfect. And his word never returns back to him void. Once he says a thing, it shall be so. His words are the same today, yesterday, and forever. And once his hands are involved, once he have placed his hands in it, it shall be so. But God, this man seems very confused. This man seems very off. This man seems like he's all over the place. He's not balanced. He's unstable in all his ways. He's up, down. 1 minute he love you, the next minute he don't. 1 minute we good, the next minute we not. 1 minute he's in, the next minute he's out. God, what is this? Like, what is this? And naturally, in our natural state, nobody wants to endure suffering. Nobody wants to endure hardship. Nobody wants to endure that or even accept that my husband may be in love with somebody else. Who wants to swallow that? Who's okay with that? Especially when the Bible gives you biblical reasons to exit out. Especially when the Bible gives you reasons to stage left. Who wants to have to endure and accept that this man is doing some stuff that I have biblical reasons to leave? Okay? This journey is a huge part of the ones that God has called to it. Okay? It's suffering is a huge part. I'm sorry. Suffering is a huge part of the journey who God has called to this. And that's why I always indicate and share everybody who says, oh, I'm sending for my marriage. Oh, I'm sending for my marriage. Oh, I'm sending for my marriage. I always question, like, really? How do you know? How do you know? Like, what did God tell you? What was the promise that he gave you? What you standing on? What you believing for? What has God told you to trust him with? Because it's going to be some stuff that comes up that's going to make you question, did I hear God right? Some stuff gonna come and make you be wondering, like, nah, this is not what God wants for my life. I know this is not what God wants for me. The devil is a lie. This ain't God's plan for my life. But wives do not accept or come in agreement with when you sign up for this. When God has called you and you accept this call, you are signing up for suffering, and that's a hard truth that a lot of wives do not want to accept, because they feel like, oh, I'm not just supposed to be suffering and I'm not supposed to just be going through No, every wife is not supposed to be doing that. I absolutely agree with you. Every wife is not supposed to be going through. Every wife is not supposed to be suffering. Every wife is not supposed to be enduring this. Every wife is not supposed to be taking this kind of pain. But the ones that know God has told you to do this, yeah, suffering is part of your journey. It's part of your journey. Wife, like I said, God doesn't tell every wife to stay in a substance abused marriage. He doesn't. He does not tell every wife to stay in a substance abused marriage. He does not restore every bad marriage. So y'all can stop coming for me saying, oh, but God hates the boys. God hates the boys. And he does. But there are some instances and there are some cases when God releases wives from that type of environment, from that type of relationship, from that type of union. God releases some wives, okay? But 1 Corinthians 7 said a wife not supposed to divorce her husband, but she's supposed to be separated and then come back with her husband. But God gives the final word. People have to understand that there is a written word, and then there is a rhema word that God gives. Okay. So stop this, y'all. Stop this. Stop hitting people over the head with the Bible and trying to make people feel like, oh, well, God hates divorce, so therefore I'm standing for my marriage. You keep standing and God ain't told you to do this. You keep being in that position and God ain't told you to do this. That thing gonna eat you up. Okay. It's gonna eat you up. You're gonna be around here walking with a limp head, then lean over to the side, and your mouth gonna be crooked like this. God ain't calling everybody to this, okay? God is not calling everybody to this journey. In fact, sometimes he releases ones to move on and start life over with someone else. he releases you to start over with someone else. So I always just caution you, please, for your own mental well-being, you need to know the difference. You need to know if this journey is for you or not. So many people hear other people's testimonies and hear other people's stories and hear other people's, what God has done for them. And it's like they want that. It's like, oh, if God did it for them, God can do it for me. If God is doing it, moving like this in their marriages, I know he can do it for me. But you have to know if this is what God has said. I speak to so many wives when they sign up for consultations, especially in the beginning when I was doing this. It was like, a lot of them was like, well, I knew nothing about this marriage restoration type of journey. And so because I knew nothing about it, I heard this person talking about it. I heard somebody talking about it. So I just thought I would just do it too. So so you basically just got in line and just followed, the rest of the rest of the crowd, but you really didn't know what you was getting in line with. You was just listening to people's words and hearing what they was teaching and sharing and whatever about the Bible and what the Bible says about marriage. And yes, you are supposed to listen and follow the teachings of the Bible. But for this type of journey right here, you need a divine word. But for this type of journey right here, you need God to give you a rhema word. This is not just, oh, I'm just going to follow the Bible, this and that. And God was like, but I don't want you to stay in this. Yeah, but because God just hated it. But God's saying, I don't want you to stay in this. And you getting the signs and you getting all types of, prophetic signs. I had a wife who basically said that, she knew that, she was supposed to lead this marriage a long time ago. She knew, but yet and still she was holding on because they had so many years and, involved. The children were involved. They had so many, things going for them. They had so many, things, that they had they connect themselves with over the years. And it was like, surely God don't want me to leave all this. And it was like, yeah, because her life basically was held up, and his too, because they were in this relationship that God had said was over. They was in this relationship that God had basically said it's ended, right? But they're still trying to force themselves to be there. And a lot of times wives are trying to force themselves to be in something that God has already ordained and said, it's over. I'm done. We're finished. Okay. Let me answer this question. What happens if God gave you a word, but the opposite happens? That's usually what happens. Usually when God give you a word, that's usually what happens. The opposite will take place. That's how you know you're on the right track. Because when God said, oh, I'm going to save your marriage, or oh, I'm going to restore your husband, and then all hell break out, like, oh, all right, I'm on the right track. God's ways are not our ways. God's thoughts are not our thoughts. It's crazy, but that's usually what happens. Okay. So again, I just want to just emphasize to wives, for your own mental well-being, know the difference and if this journey is for you or not. Okay. Listen, I am not a advocate for drugs or alcohol, and neither do I promote it. But a lot of wives are standing up to some real demons when they are dealing with this type of challenge. Okay. They are standing up to some real live demons. And I'm telling you, them things ain't backing down. Okay. They are not backing down. And you have to know and understand you cannot stand up to those types of spirits in your own strength. That is not a fight that God is asking you to fight. That is not a fight that God is asking you to fight. All right. God don't call you to fight demons. Okay. God is not calling you to fight demons. And when you're dealing with a person that's under that type of influence, you have to know that you are dealing with something way above than what God has asked you to do. Okay. Because God's not calling you to that. God will make you aware of some things on what you can do for yourself. He will make you aware of that. But for a husband or a spouse involved in this type of lifestyle, that is not your fight. That is not your fight. That's his. I sometimes get questions from wives who want to know how to help a spouse navigating through this type of lifestyle. And I often tell them by taking care of themselves. You have to take care of yourself. So many wives want to know how can they help their husbands when he's under these types of, attacks, when he's under this type of influence. There's nothing you can do for that man. There's nothing you can do for that man. All right. Their substance abuse is not your responsibility. It is theirs. They have to make a decision. And until they receive a revelation from God themselves, there is nothing that you can do for them. Emphasizing for them. Okay? Wives, you have to be so inclined to the Spirit of God concerning your journey and what He's telling you to do. You have to be so inclined into what God is telling you to do during this time. It doesn't matter how much you love this person. Love is not enough for this type of person. When you're dealing with this type of abuse, you're not going to be able to deal with their behavior. You're not going to be able to deal with their behavior under the influence of drugs and alcohol. However, if God has told you to be there, then there is a grace strategy for you to abide by. There is a grace strategy for you to abide by. One of the most helpful things, and I am forever grateful for AA. I will always promote AA, those AA classes, those AA programs, especially for the ones for families. I am so grateful for those times. It was such a huge help for me on my journey. All right. It really, really helped me to just understand what I was dealing with, what these people are going through. I learned so much about the behavior of this person under these types of attacks. And it's really, really sad once you know the truth, right? Once you know the truth sets you free. And it's sad what they are really, really battling. It is literally like they are trapped in their own heads and they cannot escape. They are literally trapped in their own heads and they cannot escape. I have witnessed how the enemy play on these men's minds. Okay, I have seen it firsthand. And he's allowed to do this. He's allowed to do this because they have given the enemy a entryway to them. Basically, what that means is the enemy has access to him. The enemy have claims on him. The enemy has him because they have allowed the enemy a entry. Why? Cover and protect yourself first. And be spirit led on how to handle a husband under these types of attacks. God used to tell me, he would tell me, like, leave him alone today. This ain't a good day. Don't go there today. And sometimes I would listen and sometimes I didn't. But the times that I did not listen, it was almost like, girl, you should have listened. Because God knows what's going on. God sees, God knows, God, he's all knowing. All right. And this is why I always tell wives, if God is telling you something, listen to him. It is for your own mental good. It's for your own mental health. It is for your own well-being. All right. He ain't just making this stuff up saying, no, something is going on. Something is going on. Not only are these men underneath these types of, the substance abuse, but, they got this witchcraft stuff. They got all these different types of things that these men are, getting involved in. The world is a very, very dark place now. And so when a person who has given the enemy an entry to their lives, they don't have no peace. So whatever they can do or whatever they can find to get that peace, that's what they're looking for. And they don't care about you or anybody else. You, the children, the house, the job, nothing. Whatever that is going to require them the peace that they need, that's what they're going after. And so many wives try to put their hands on this. So many wives try to strike, you need to get some help. Yes, they do need help, but they got to get their help on their own. They got to want their help for themselves. You cannot force that man to get them help. What you better be trying to do is make sure that you cover and make sure that you are spiritually inclined so you can know what to do for yourself when God says something. That's what you better do. So I tell wives all the time, protect yourself at all costs. Protect yourself at all costs and be spirit led. All right. I had a wife, client recently who shared with me that every time her husband would touch her, it felt like something was trying to attack her. Right. It felt like whatever it was. See, I just like be acting crazy. Whatever it was that was trying to attack her, it felt like trying to attack whatever it was that was on him was trying to attack her. Whatever was on him was trying to come for her. Okay, this is why I always tell wives, this stuff is like we're not playing out here. This stuff is real. Like, this stuff is really, really real, and wives have to be on guard concerning this stuff. A lot of wives are getting a lot of knowledge about things. They're getting a lot of knowledge about things. They're getting a lot of knowledge about marriage restoration, right? But there are not a lot of wives getting revelation about their marriage and what God is telling them to do specifically. There are not wives doing that at all. It's like, feed me, encourage me, motivate me, tell me what to do. Did you hear from God? And what did he say to you? Did you hear from God? And what was your conviction when he spoke to you? Because too many wives are saying with their mouth, oh, I'm supposed to be standing for my marriage, or I'm supposed to be doing this. And it's like, nope. No, you're not. No, you're not. And when you're dealing with a husband who has a mental illness, that requires another level of hearing. That requires another level of hearing. You, wife, need more revelation about what God is saying to you versus just knowledge, versus just information, versus just knowledge, versus information. I just recently heard Juanita Bynum say, too much knowledge makes a person change their minds a lot. Too much knowledge makes a person change their minds a lot. But revelation is conviction. When God says a thing, it's final. One of the things I used to always share with my wives in the beginning, when my husband and I were separated and he was outside of the home, one of the things that I stood on, because I knew God had told me, don't divorce my husband. And I stood on God telling me, your husband's coming back home. Your husband's coming back home. People thought I was crazy. People thought I was losing my mind. My family was trying to put me in a center. My friends was calling me loco. Like, people literally thought I was out of my mind because of the time that we had been apart from each other, the things that had took place, the things that, was going on. I shared with wives before how, I didn't have money. And so I remember I'm going to put this man on child support. I'm going to do this. And the Lord was like, no, you're not. no, you're not. Now, if you want that man to come home, you're not. And I was like, but God, he's like, I'm going to make sure he going to pay, but you're not going to put him on child support. And so sometimes God will ask you to do the opposite of what the world will want you to do. Sometimes God will ask you to do the opposite of what seems right, or what seems fair, or what seems normal. Sometimes God will ask you to do the hard stuff. And so this is why I always tell wives all the times, that's not just something that you can just get information on and knowledge about. You need a conviction. You need revelation. Because you can be like, maybe I heard God wrong. maybe I'm tripping. Maybe this is just something that I want. Maybe this is just a desire of mine, and I'm all in my head, and I don't really think this is something I'm supposed to be doing now. But when you know it's something that you're supposed to be doing, you don't think that way. You stand 10 toes down on what it is that God has told you. All right? You stand 10 toes down on what God has told you. So I just want to share with you a few mental health issues that men are faced with. Okay, very similar to what they, what women are faced with. But it's, in a class of depression, anxiety disorders, PTSD, substance abuse, loneliness. I was surprised to see this, that men are, struggling with loneliness, stress, sleep disorder, antisocial personality disorder. I hear a lot of wives I just heard a lady just recently talk about, how she went to a class reunion and her husband and, had went with her, and how he was just like in his own world. Like he was just not involved. He didn't want to talk to nobody. He didn't want to be involved. He was in his own little corner. Like this stuff is real, right? So it's antisocial personality disorder, phobos, panic disorders, overthinking, and that list can go on and on and on. Men are less likely to get help for their mental problems, and this is why I believe, okay? Not in every case, but maybe in a few. This is why I believe why God asked certain wives to stay. This is why I believe this. Because he knows that his sons are not going to be the first to just go and rush to go, I need to get some help. And it's not saying they don't need to get the help. It's not saying they don't need to get that professional help. But a lot of times they're not running straight over to get that help that they need. And this is why I believe God has stationed, called, commissioned certain wives to stay in these types of marriages. For God knows his sons just like he knows his daughters, and he knows what his sons need. Many times, the ones who has been called to be by this husband, wife, God puts something specifically in her to be there for this man. I feel like God gives his divine superpower to this wife to equip her to stay and stand by that man's side. There's no other way else she would be able to do this journey. There's no other way else. God has to divinely download, plant, sow, give something to this wife for her to be able to endure this. And so a lot of times when I hear certain wives who are coming up like, oh my God, I'm so tired of this. Oh my God, I'm this and that. And sometimes you're not going to have tired days. You're not going to have weary days. But there is a grace for you to do what God has called you to do. If you don't have that grace, then you might need to recheck and see if this is what God is calling you to. If you don't have that grace, then you might need to get back in alignment with God. You might need to go back and speak to God. You might need to go on a fast. You might need to, go back and see God. Like, did I miss it somewhere? Did I drop it? You need to know, because there is no way. God is not evil. God is love. If he's asking you to do something, he's going to ask you to do something, but his grace is sufficient enough for you to do it. He's not just going to throw you to the curb. He's not going to just throw you out there just like, okay, here, you're going to just do this and that's it. No, that's not what it is. All right. God has to equip that type of wife and give her something that he doesn't necessarily give other wives. It is not saying that this wife is better. All right. Anybody could have been the mother of Jesus Christ, but God chose Mary, right? God chose Mary. He could have chose anyone to be Jesus's mother, but he specifically chose Mary. Why? Whatever reason that it was that he chose her, okay? What is that superpower that God has given these wives? What is it that he is downloading in these wives to be able to withstand a lot of these things, to be able to withstand the schemes and the tactics of the enemy, to be able to withstand some of the darts that's thrown at her? What is he giving that wife? And this is what I believe, wives. I believe it. I experience it. I believe he is giving them unconditional love. Unconditional love. Unconditional love. You are not there as his enabler, wife, but you are there as his covering, his stability, and showing him uncommon love. So you say, well, Coach T, what is uncommon love? Well, uncommon love is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4-8, and then verses 13, which simply says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Verse 13. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. So you might say, well, I thought everyone supposed to be like that. I thought everyone supposed to walk in unconditional. I thought everyone's supposed to have unconditional love. Well, yeah, that was the goal. that was the goal. The Bible also talks about many are called, but only a few are chosen. God has given this command to a lot of people to do, but a lot of people do not take it. A lot of people do not gravitate to this. A lot of people don't want that uncommon love. You wife, as God representative, you have been called and commissioned to love your husband in the way that he is. You wife have been called and commissioned to love your husband just how he is. You are to love him and see him just like the Lord sees him. You are to stand by his side and be there for him just like God is. And let me tell you something. Every wife cannot necessarily do that. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you. Every wife cannot necessarily do that. Okay? This is why I said she has to be called to this. This type of love is engraved into the wife who God has chosen to be there with his son. The reason I know this to be true, I remember my husband said to me one time, he's like, how you been so nice to me? He said something like this. How you been so nice to me? You was just upset the other day. Now you so nice to me. Why you love on me like this? Why you love on me like this? And sometimes a wife, they don't even know why. they can't even necessarily answer why. They don't even know. Like, I have every reason to be mad at you. I have every reason to be, hurt by you. I have every reason to just walk away from you. But there is something on the inside of me that keeps me connected to you. And as many times as I want to depart, and as many times as I want to walk away, and as many times I want to just throw in the towel, it is something, come on, Jesus, on the inside of me that keeps me connected to you. I don't know what this thing is. I can't articulate it in my own words. I cannot articulate it in my own voice. But there is something working on the inside of me that keeps me connected to you. So I don't know why I love you like I do. I don't know why I'm so connected to you. I don't know why I'm so attached. I don't know. That's what you call that uncommon love. Wife, you have been engraved. You have been stamped. God has given you a supernatural power to love that man. Because every woman could not do that. Okay? Because of the weight of this type of call, this wife's hard. And I want to this is just a bonus for you. Because of the weight of this type of call, this wife's heart is fragile. It's fragile. All right? It's fragile. Every day she has to give her heart to God to remove the residue of her husband's unhealthy behavior. Each time God does this, her heart gets stronger. Each time God does this, her heart gets stronger. She has to purposely, routinely offer her heart as a daily sacrifice to prevent envy, strife, anger, bitterness. It's a must. It's a must that her heart stays in a pure place, because it's only through the purest of her heart where God hears her prayers and her concerns. Wife. This is part of the process. This is something that wives will have to endure on this journey, the ones who have been called and commissioned to this. And one of the most important aspects of this journey is that this wife has to prioritize her own well-being. It is not an optional. It is not optional. It's not an option for her. This is a requirement for the call. This is a requirement. I mean, one time I said, "Oh, well, you can't just help people just by helping them with this self-care. It's just people just ain't gonna just get help by self-care." Self-care is not just, oh, I'm going to the store and buy my favorite, shirt today, or I'm going out to eat, or I'm going to go sit in the park and, watch the dogs run through the park. That's not what self-care is only. That's not what self-care is. Self-care is a strategy plan that God gives the wife who is called to this type of journey. God specifically helped that wife to prioritize herself in a way where she is being ministered by him, where she is in his presence, where she is daily setting up that daily devotion. She is spending that time with, she is putting in the work. She is sitting down with God. She is hearing from God and getting instructions and revelations daily on how to move forward in this marriage. And as a bonus, God is allowing her to go get her nails done, get her hair done, go out to eat, go do these things, go do that thing. But more than anything, that self-care time is that time where that wife is literally in God's presence, giving her ear to God, giving her heart to God. And she's saying, God, here I am. What is it you want to download into me today? God, here I am. What it is that you need to teach me today? God, here I am. What it is that I need to be doing on today? Wife, I'm telling you, this is not something that I read. This is something that I know. Okay, I know. This is not something that oh, I seen this on TV or I heard somebody talk about. No, this is something I lived. This is not for every wife. Okay? Has God called you to uncommonly love in your marriage? Has God called you to stay or stand for a unhealthy marriage? Has God told you to, I need you to be here. I need you to be here. I don't care what your husband got going on. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care who he's talking to. I don't care what he got going on in the streets. I need you here because I know the end to this. And if you are not here, you can interrupt and mess up the plans that I have for him. I need you right here. Yet hurt and all, I need you right here. Tears fall on your eyes and everything. I need you right here. Because what I need for you is to trust me more than what you see with your own natural eyes. Yeah, he's messed up right now. He's broken right now. He's going astray right now. But in a few minutes, there is a time that I'm getting ready to switch all these things around. There is a time, come on, that I'm getting ready to turn his heart. There is a time, wife, when God said, the gates of hell should not prevail on this. The gates of hell should not prevail on this. I'm sitting back. Let's go back to Psalms. I think it's in Psalm 30:10 when the Lord said he just laughed at people who look like they getting away with stuff. The evil people, wicked people that's getting away with stuff. He sit back and laugh at them because he know that their day is coming. He knows that their time is coming. There is a time. Wife, that other woman cannot have your husband always. Not if God called you to this place. Not if God told you to be here. Not if God has commissioned you for this journey. Not if God has called you and chose you to be his wife. She can't have your husband. Those drugs and alcohol, that stuff cannot have your husband. It cannot kill him. It cannot take him out because God has a specific timing and he knows the day when he's going to change that man's heart. He knows the day. He knows the hour. He knows when this thing is going to all switch. It's going to all turn. It's going to all turn. He's working it out right now. But you got to know if this is what he's called you to do. You may need to get a heart detox. You may need some, some tips, some support, some accountability, some coaching on how to manage yourself in the meantime. Okay? Because it's a mean time right now. So you need some stuff to manage you in the meantime. You need some accountability. You need somebody to walk with you in the meantime. And I want to encourage you, wife, if you are there, if you are that wife going through a season of marital hardship and you know God has called you to this place and you have come to the end of yourself, which means You're tired of trying to do things on your own. You're tired of trying to figure out on your own. You're tired of trying to, like, no. You have come to the end of yourself and you're ready to hear from God concerning your marriage. I want to encourage you to sign up for your marriage consultation today. You have to sign up for your marriage consultation. You have to sign up for your marriage consultation. This is not something that you, wife, should be handling and doing on your own. This is not something that I'm just walking with God. I'm like, yeah, I'm here with you, but you're going to need some help. You're going to need some help. And so, wife, I want to encourage you. You can sign up today at www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. Get the necessary help you need for this journey. God is not calling every wife to this. But for that wife that he is calling to this, baby, you got work to do. I recently discovered that buoyancy does not only mean to bounce back, but to help you bounce back and move forward. Come on, Jesus. And so I have the pleasure of helping wives to bounce back and move forward. Helping wives to get up, pick themselves up, brush themselves off, and keep it rolling. Because there's so much other work for you to do. Wives, this journey is not just about your husband, but your husband will benefit from this. And if God has called you to this journey and he has given you specific instructions concerning your marriage and your husband, wait on it. I always tell wives, get you a promise, get you a instruction, get you a Bible scripture, get you something to stand on. So when doubt and confusion and frustration and when things look like they're crumbling and going down and like it's going the opposite direction, you can hold on to that. Mine was Psalms 27:13-14. I would have given up if I would not believe that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord and be of good cheer. I said wait. Now that's me paraphrasing it, but that's what it is all for the most part. Why is you being out here and just saying, oh, I'm standing for my marriage, and you out here just listen to this person, getting all this information, and you all over the place, and you ain't got nobody walking with you on this journey, or have somebody walking with you that knows this journey and understands it. You in bad shape, I'm telling you. And you might as well just stop. You might as well just stop. Because it's not until you get in alignment with God when this journey really happens. I hear a lot of wives who say, well, I've been standing for my husband for 5 years, 10 years. But have you been in alignment with God? Because it's not until you are in alignment with God when it starts. It's not until you are in alignment with God when it begins. I told y'all earlier, I'm going to a wedding today. And baby, I love weddings. I love weddings. Wives, you have no idea what God wants to do in your marriage. But there is strategies, there is a specific timing, and there is an instruction that you have to abide by to keep moving forward on this journey. So, sign up today to start doing your work. You can sign up at www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. Like I said, the first way to start working with me is to sign up for your consultation. You can sign up for your consultation. From there, the consultation, we decide whether or not if you need additional sessions. More than likely you will. Most of the wives I talk to do need additional sessions, but we align you with the one that works best for you in this season of your life, and we get you started on what it is that God wants to do in you, wife. Or if you're saying, Coach C, I really can't afford a consultation right now, I do have a Wife Talk e-course. And this Wife Talk e-course is simply a course that I did with a group of young ladies, where I gave them specific instructions. It's like a clarity course. I give them specific instructions, specific questions, specific things that they need to be doing to make sure that this is something that God has called me to. Right? This is something that God has called me to. Listen, that course is like $100. It's $100, but it's some information in there that you can do for 30 days. Follow those steps for 30 days and get what you need from God. But the ones who does the consultation, they automatically get this. They automatically get this. But if you say I cannot afford a consultation, but I would, love to just, get the e-course, get the e-course. Just send me an email, go to my www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com and say, hey, Coach C, I'm interested in the e-course. I send you over the invoice and I send it right over to you. You can download it yourself. Get the help you need, wife, on this journey. The East course also comes with 2 ebooks. It comes with 2 ebooks. So it's a lot of information. Again, it's a lot of information. But wife, God needs to give you a revelation about your marriage, okay? So sign up today, www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. Listen, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday. I love y'all. Happy Self-Care Saturday, and I'll talk to you soon. Blessings.